It is Monday, November 13th. We are fresh off of NFL Week 10, looking ahead into NFL Week 11, coming off a few exciting games, specifically the continuance of Astro Dobbs, one of my biggest takeaways of the week. But before we get into takeaways, before we get into NFL Week 11 games, Brendan, how we doing, man?
Yeah, I'm rolling, man. I think I'm positive in the beer bets now. I think
you are. You, in fact, are positive in the beer bets. We
can talk about it later.
Well, we can talk about it now. We had 3 on the docket for NFL Week 10. We were 5-5. So we were all even. We had been even pretty much all year. And you went 2-1 on the beer bets this week, unfortunately, because it was due to the Ravens blowing their lead and giving up a win to the Browns. I had Texans +7, so that one hit. And then I had Ravens -6. They were winning by 2 possessions, and then they really just let it all go. So impressive win by the Browns, though. We can talk about that here in a second. And then last but not least, again, the continuance of Astro Dobbs. He takes it home, man. He got you the Vikings +3. I was just, I thought the Saints were better than that, and I thought they could handle, the fact that he just got there less than 2 weeks ago, and let alone they're getting absolutely cooked. But so I will never doubt Astro Dobbs again here on out. So good stuff, BJ. Good stuff.
The sad part about that. The sad part about Josh is that after this year, he's going to be a backup again. And it's so sad because he shouldn't.
Hey, you never know. I mean, Kirk is,
if they were to trade
contract
Kirk
year. Because here's the thing.
How could they
Vikings
not roll
won't have a high draft pick. Yeah, they won't have a high draft pick. Unless if they don't bring Kirk back for another year, then they may just have Dobbs keep playing as a buffer if he continues to do well, unless they can go and get somebody else out of the free agency. But could be possible. You never know. I've seen wilder things happen. So,
I mean, they don't even need any more skill players. I mean, beef up both lines and just roll with Dobbs. Like, Dobbs can do it. I know it's a small sample size, but he can. I mean, no, it's not. He played all year.
He's got the rest of the year to figure it out. So, we don't want to jump the gun a bit too early, but he's got 7 more games to prove him wrong. See if he can get a spot as a starter. We'll see. Anything is possible. All right. If you don't know who we are, we ask Athletics. We love football, we love analytics, and we love betting on the big games. So if you enjoy that stuff too, this is the page for you. We will be giving some of our big takeaways and then breaking down some of the biggest games of the week, as we do every week with both NFL and college football. We use our projections, we use our analytics, and we just use the eye test to make those picks. So if you don't want to sit through the takeaways, make sure to scroll on through to the later part of the video or the pod and find the big game breakdown. But glad you're here, and let's get started. Brendan, my biggest takeaway of the week we already talked about was Josh Dobbs. Again, Astro Dobbs, phenomenal. We don't want to spend any more time on that. Next one, CJ Stroud is him. Is he worthy of being discussed in the MVP conversation? Let me hear it.
Who'd you say?
CJ Stroud.
Oh. No.
What?
They won't, first of all.
Come on. He has the Texans at 5-4. Coming off of a horrible season last season, and all of a sudden he has them rolling. He just beat the Bengals, who, just last week, really handed it to the Bills. So if you look at everybody else who's in the MVP conversation, look at Pat Mahomes. He's struggling right now. Jalen Hurts, he's doing fine, but he's still struggling every now and then. Josh Allen, struggling. Joe Burrow, he struggled all at the beginning of the year. Lamar, he's not doing well statistically right now. So, I mean, why not? why not CJ Stroud? Right now, he's putting up better numbers than anybody else. And who is more valuable to their team right now than CJ Stroud? If you take CJ off of the Texans, what do you think they do? They're not winning 5 games. That's for sure.
I agree with you, but how often do they actually name the MVP the actual most valuable player on their team?
Well, I mean, one thing we know for sure is
because
that it's always a
quarterback.
So I would agree with you. He's got that going for him. It's always a quarterback. So at least he has that going for him. I mean, I think he has a legitimate shot to be the most valuable player in the league. Let's say fair. look at what just happened to the Jaguars. Look at everything that just happened to, what's going on in that conference or division specifically with the Colts, the Jags, and the Titans. CJ has a legitimate chance to pull ahead, win the division, and make the playoffs. It's entirely in the realm of possibility.
If they win the division, then yeah, I'd say probably. I don't know. Do they do the awards after the whole season's over?
Yeah, right before playoffs.
Right before the playoffs?
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, I just don't think they'll give it to him. I mean, I agree with everything you're saying, but I just don't think they would give it to him like that. Like they'll give him Offensive Rookie of the Year. Like I just don't think that they'll elevate him that way. But no, he is playing great ball. I mean, he lost to the Panthers, but other than that, he's having a really good season so far.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm on
let him keep going. Let him keep going. The season's only half over.
I think if the season ended today, yeah, I mean, I think he should be, considered at least for the MVP. So I think he should be entering the conversation. And I think if he crosses into winning the division or making the playoffs absolutely 100%. I think there's no reason for him to not at least be in the top 3 of MVP consideration. Now, my next takeaway is kind of a personal one because both you and I were really high on the Browns. And now, albeit I was let down by the Ravens because I picked them to win and cover last week, which they should have done. But there's a silver lining in this for you and I because we were heavy on the Browns. We both put down Browns over their team total. We got them at 8.5 at one point early in the season. So victory lap there. If you don't believe us, go watch our AFC North pod way back in the summer. So victory lap there. We told everybody this team was a playoff contender. Now, Deshaun, he still looks kind of cooked. He looks dusted, but everybody else on this team is more than capable, looking strictly at player personnel, defense, and some of the weapons they have on the offensive side of the ball. They're capable of winning the playoffs, and I think they proved it because, against one of the most well-rounded teams in the league, the Browns persevered, got it done on the road against the Ravens. So victory lapping that. Do you have anything else to take away there?
Yeah, I'd say the most important part about that is that they went on the road to the Ravens, who might be the most complete team. Maybe not, at least top 3 most complete team in the entire NFL. And they did it on the backs of their defense. If it wasn't for that pick 6, I mean, there's no way. So,
yeah.
I mean, I know they give up 31 points, but I mean, the Ravens have a really good offense. And they managed to, if they don't have their defense, they don't win that game at all. They don't even come close. So I mean, we've been talking about that for weeks now, and that they have maybe the best defense in the whole league, and it's true. And they're just gonna. What was it? Was it the Ravens, like 2012, where they won the Super Bowl
with Joe Flacco?
Yeah, and their offense was terrible.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but Deshaun made some Deshaun plays at the end of that game where he had that scramble and got all the way up there. So. It's looking good so far. I mean, I thought Deshaun was gone. I thought his shoulder was out and he was done. I just didn't think he was ever going to come back from his weird injury that he's been off for a couple weeks. But, I mean, they're healthy. Ford had 100 yards on the ground against the Ravens. So, hey.
Yeah.
I put them up there.
They get it done. They keep winning. Now, next one I wanted to talk about. There's a few, but I had to kind of limit myself. the 49ers came out and they looked absolutely unreal. I actually thought the Jaguars had a chance. I think they did. A lot of people thought they did. They were one of the most heavy bet underdogs with them being at home. The projections actually like the Jaguars to win outright by 1. But I think the bye week did a lot of good for this 49ers team. Debo getting back on the field did a lot of good. Brock Purdy getting healthy, getting his mind right did a lot of good. So I think the 49ers not so gently reminded us that they're an absolute powerhouse, and we kind of forgot it over the past few weeks, and we took a few bad Brock Purdy games, and then we're like, oh yeah, they're human, which they are, but they're, again, I think they just definitely reestablished themselves as one of the best teams in the league, hands down. So the Jaguars, they're a good team. I'm not taking, I'm a little surprised by the performance of the Jags, but I'm more so giving the nod to the 49ers in the outcome of this one rather than knocking down the Jags. I think the Jags are still a fine team. They'll get it figured out, but just for the 49ers to go on the road and do that to this team was pretty resounding. And I wanted to point that out, and I will definitely give the respect to the 49ers where respect is due.
It's the nasty Niners.
Yeah, that's true.
Their defense killed. They really came out.
Chase Young
that's awesome.
And
Nick Bosa.
Dude, that's awesome. Not right.
It's
that's
awesome.
Not fair.
It's really cool. And
it is cool.
Chase stripped one and then Bosa recovered it, right?
Yep.
It was literally and they were teammates at Ohio State. It's really cool. But yeah, they're, except McCaffrey sucks, man.
Oh, well, get out of here.
He didn't score. Everyone else scored.
Did you see the part where they tried to force feed him the football?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
So.
But no, the team's a very complete team, just like the Ravens we were talking about, and they played up to it and they demolished the Jags. So
they're back.
They weren't gone. I mean, they were sputtering.
Yeah. We did both pick the 49ers -3, by the way, even though the projections had them. So good positive.
-31.
Yeah. We bought the points. We get the alt points.
Yep, I'm a millionaire now.
Yeah. All right. Hey, well, don't want to take anybody else any more time, so we're going to jump straight ahead. It is time to break down the biggest games of NFL Week 11. Again, if you don't know what we do, we love walking through some of the biggest games of the week and then giving our rapid reactions to some of the smaller games of the week here at the end. So if you want, scroll to the game you want, scroll to the end for all I care, but let's get into it. Thursday Night Football finally provides us with some quality football for the first time in a long time. Bengals go to the Ravens, both coming off of a tough loss. Ravens just dropped one to the Browns. Bengals just lost in a thriller to the Texans. Ravens are favored by 3.5 in this Thursday night matchup at home. The over-under is 44 points on most books. Before we get into it, I'm going to give some key stats that I thought were quite interesting. Ravens average 2 times more rushing yards per game than the Bengals do, 156 yards per game compared to 76. Total points allowed, Ravens defense, 14 points per game. Bengals, 21 points per game. Total yards allowed, Ravens allow 306 yards per game. Bengals, 401 yards per game. Now, some more, get back to the rushing things. Bengals are allowing 5.1 yards per carry and 7.3 yards per attempt in the air. So if you're not catching the trend here, there's a bit of lopsidedness between the Bengals and the Ravens defense, and it's a pretty wide margin. Thinking about 7 whole points per game allowed on the defensive side of the ball, it's not too exciting for if you're a Bengals fan. So Ravens get the nod defensively, hands down. But, you guys already knew that. So let's look at some of the EPA. Offensive EPA, Baltimore is the 9th ranked team in the league in offensive EPA per play. Cincinnati, 16th. So flip it on the other side. Baltimore's offense is even more efficient than the Bengals' offense is. So on paper, Baltimore, both offense and defense, is better than the Bengals. So with that information, trying to gather my thoughts here. And then we go ahead and look at the betting splits. 21% of the bets are on the Ravens. 50% of the handle of the money is on the Ravens. So the majority of the tickets are on the Bengals, but the money is about 50-50 split. Brendan, Ravens 3.5. Tell me about this line. What do you think, and who do you think takes it?
Yeah, I mean, this is the best Thursday night game we've had in forever, and I'm really excited about it. I hope it's not a low-scoring game like all Thursday night games are. But the Ravens just threw that game away, literally, to the Browns. So I think the Ravens. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. The Ravens are, like we said, one of the most complete teams. Their defense is great, offense is good, and they just gave that game away. Short week, they're going to be pissed off and want to come back and really assert dominance in this division. I think they'll cover that 3.5. But the BJ parlay, same game parlay, is Ravens minus 3.5. Keaton Mitchell over a 30-yard touchdown, and an interception thrown by Joey B.
Okay, it's a good one. I might have to
Probably
put
nasty.
it in the books.
It's probably nasty.
Yeah. I'll have to clip this and see how it does. But
talk about next week.
I mean, with both teams coming off the loss, it's going to be, both teams are going to be well motivated. I'm certain of that. You look at the Bengals side; they just lost a key defender due to knee hyperextension. They also won't have T. Higgins. He went out due to concussion protocol, and I don't think he's going to be able to clear concussion protocol within the next couple of days on the short week for Thursday Night Football. So Bengals will be without T. Higgins. And then you flip it on the other side, the Ravens, they're just going to be pissed off. Everybody's still rather fully healthy. And it is at home, so they don't have to travel so quickly on the short week. Now, the preliminary projections have this game 23-17 in favor of the Ravens. So it actually likes Baltimore by 6. So pretty big discrepancy there. And I can see why. You look at everything that I just listed off, especially on the defense side of the ball. Offensive EPA per play allowed, Baltimore 2nd ranked in the league, Bengals 22nd ranked in the league. And naturally, if you were to just bet this game strictly off the stats, off the sheet, the workbook, you would have to take the Ravens in this instance because, there's really not much that the Bengals are doing right now that the Ravens aren't doing better at. So the only reason that, has me hesitant is because it's the AFC North. It's just the divisional rivalry. The fact that Joe Burrow can, be Joe Burrow and make this game interesting. And Lamar Jackson the past few weeks has been quietly down, albeit the Ravens have been up. The rushing attack has been really the main driver of this offense the past few weeks. So Lamar's going to have to get it going if the Ravens want to clear this 3.5 point spread. They certainly can do it. And again, on paper and due to the projections, they have the Ravens covering by 2.5 points. I think I'm going to have to take it. I'm going to have to ride the Ravens here, man. I was out on the Bengals last week. I'm going to be out on them again this week. That proved me right. And I hope that this week proves me right as well. I need Lamar to come up big too for my fantasy team. So
I'm curious if you know the percentage of pass attempts to rush attempts. Because I almost feel like they need to let Lamar get in rhythm a little bit if they're rushing so much.
Yeah,
I don't have that, but
I do have pass rate over expectation, and surprisingly, let's see, gonna have to clear this out. I was looking at KC or Kansas City versus Philly numbers for our next game, and those were a bit higher than I expected. But pass rate over expectation, Baltimore 14th in the league, so right around league average. Bengals 2nd in the league, so they pass the ball at a much higher rate than one would expect just strictly looking at the numbers. So
it's 43% or 46% of the time they are throwing the ball. So that's at least attempts.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me one bit. Especially with the way that it surprises me that the Ravens even have. Well, I guess they've been in a lot of favorable game scripts where a play wouldn't be deemed expected. So yeah, that's probably why that number is the way that it is. But nonetheless, yeah, I'm around the Ravens. I'm going to trust him here. I'm going to hope that Lamar can get back on track through the air in this really exciting AFC North matchup.
It's going to be good.
All right. Next game of the week. Now, we just talked about the Thursday night football. We're going to flip the script all the way over to Monday night football for next week. Eagles go to the Chiefs. Chiefs are 2.5-point home favorites. Both teams are coming off of a bye. They will be well rested, healthy, and ready to go. Now, Chiefs, again, 2.5-point spread. The over-under is 47.5 points. Now, if we look at some key stats and then the betting splits in particular, if I can find them, the Chiefs, 38% of the tickets are on the Chiefs. 4% of the handle of the money is on the Chiefs. Subsequently, that means the majority of the tickets and the majority of the handle, right around 60% for both, are on the Eagles +3. Now, looking at some key stats, Kansas City, 15.4 points per game allowed. That's good for top 5 in the league. You know, their defense is really slept on. It's one of the best units that Kansas City has had in a really long time, and one of the best units in the league, arguably. Now, Philadelphia, 22 points per game. This is a down year for the Philadelphia defense, comparatively speaking to the past couple of years. Passing yards per game allowed. Kansas City only allows 195 yards per game through the air. That's really where their bread and butter is right now. Their pass defense is near elite. So the Eagles are going to have to get in their bag and figure out what to do. Philadelphia, 279 yards per game. So again, leaky secondary, definitely can be exposed. Yards per carry allowed, Kansas City 4.7, Philadelphia 3.7. Now, that's the caveat. Philadelphia is really good at stopping the run, contrary to how they were last week. Now, Kansas City is going to struggle to run the ball, but nonetheless, you know, they have a really high pass rate over expectation regardless, so I'm not really worried about that anyway. And then flip side, let's talk about some EPA. EPA per play allowed, Philadelphia is 4th ranked in the league. Kansas City is 7th in the league. Now, this game is in Arrowhead Stadium. Chiefs do have the home field advantage, and I think that's the sole reason why that the Chiefs are favored in this game. I think if it was in Philly, I think it would be flip-flopped, truth be told. But before I give my picks, before I give the projections, Brendan, tell me how you feel about this line. Tell me what you think and why.
This is a Super Bowl rematch. You know how everybody's going to feel about this game on both sides. Gosh, I want the Eagles to win. But the problem is that you can pass in this Eagles defense, and Kansas City doesn't run the ball. I mean, they do, but they don't need to.
What's crazy is Patrick Mahomes has kind of struggled, though. You know? So does this bye week do him well? Does he come out slinging it?
Like, at Arrowhead, you can pass in this Eagles defense. I'm thinking the Chiefs are going to cover 3. I don't want them to. Okay? I don't. But I just have this weird feeling that the Chiefs are going to get up like 21-7 a half or something like that. And they're going to look really good in the first quarter. And hopefully the Eagles can come back on that, running the ball and using A.J. Brown. But I don't know, man. I think the Chiefs are gonna cover this 3.
Yeah, the big problem for the Chiefs has been execution, and then it's really specifically been execution on 3rd and short. The Chiefs have the worst success rate at 3rd and short in the entire league. So pretty crazy. They can't seem to convert on 3rd and short, and they also don't have a good red zone offense. You know, they're very marginal. They're middle of the road when it comes to red zone success. And so, and I mean, some of the numbers tell too. And then even the big picture, the Chiefs are 6th in the league in total yards per game, but they're 13th in the league in total points per game. Typically, you see those numbers within 2 or 3 of each other. Like, for instance, Philadelphia, they're tied for 3rd in total points per game, and they're 5th in the league in total yards per game. So there's a high correlation there, but there's a big discrepancy. So they have the production, they just can't capitalize, they can't execute. So if Kansas City can come off of this bye rejuvenated and ready to go, and they can execute when they need to and get it done, they absolutely should cover. Now, the projections do have the Eagles winning by 3. So again, I had this flip-flopped. But, I'm kind of with you, man. I think the Chiefs I think they come off of the bye weekend ready to go. They can execute on these big plays. If they can hit on 2 or 3 of those big time throws rather than, miss. It feels like there's been a lot of misses this year in Patrick Mahomes' tenure, whether it's to Justin Watson, MVS, or Rashee Rice, some dropped balls especially. So if this team is on the same page, they're ready to go, I think they take home the win, and I think they cover that spread. So I'm going to lay it with you, man. I'm going to fade the public here, and I'm going to ride the Chiefs -3. I'm a big proponent of Andy Reid after the bye week, even though historically I don't think he has a positive record. So,
wait, hold on. I'm sorry. This just in. T Swift has a ticket.
Travis Kelce has like 400 yards per game every time T Swift's in attendance.
Travis Kelce, 11 catches, 173 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Chiefs win by 6.
There you go. You heard it here. T Swift's in attendance. That's all you need to know. Forget the stats. Swizzle. Forget the projections. Forget the public money. Forget everything.
Word on the street is T Swift's a Eagles fan.
She might be.
Word on the street.
She might be.
But hey, she's gonna be there.
Hey, that game should be a fun one though. I am looking forward to that one as much as all of them, if not the most out of all of them. The Super Bowl rematch, man.
Oh wait. Hold on, I'm getting word. Oh, Jackson Mahomes is going to be there. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that eliminates T Swift or what.
All right. Hey, we're back in the AFC North. The Steelers go to the Browns. Actually, pause. Guys, if you're watching on YouTube, we appreciate you guys. Make sure to like and subscribe, and then comment your favorite picks. Let us know what you guys have cooked up on the books. Let you know what some of your favorite plays this week, whether it's a spread, it's a total, it's a player prop, doesn't matter. Let us know. We love that type of information and seeing what you guys and the diversity of picks that you guys have. So it's all fun information. And again, we appreciate you guys watching. Just make sure to like and subscribe. We do this every week for NFL and college football. We also post all of our projections on Twitter, aka X, whatever it is now. You can find that handle somewhere up here. It's @Statletics_. So we appreciate you watching and I hope you enjoy. Back in the AFC North, Steelers go to the Browns. Browns coming off of that awesome win against the Ravens last week. Super exciting. Very thrilling finish. Steelers, how do they keep winning? They're 6-3 right now. I have a key stat for you guys that is going to blow y'all's mind. Pittsburgh averages 17 points per game, and then they allow 19 points per game, yet they're 6-3. This is crazy. They have been outgained in every single game that they have played in total yards per game.
That's elite.
Unreal. I don't know if Mike Tomlin is doing some sort of voodoo witchcraft that is making them win. I don't know. Whatever it may be, they're winning. That's all that matters, I guess. So going to Cleveland is going to be a tough task this week. However, for Mike Tomlin and company, Cleveland obviously coming off that big win. They're playing pretty well. Deshaun should be ready to go. He did come back in after getting injured. I don't expect him to be out. So with that being said, before I get into some of the numbers, the projections and everything, Brendan, tell me what you think about this line. Tell me who you like and why.
You don't even have to go into the numbers because I am just on an absolute fade beach heater with the Steelers because I was mad that they lost to the Jaguars and I was wrong on the cover in week 8. So I said, all right, you know what? Week 9, they're playing the Titans. They're a 3-point favorite. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bet the other team so I could be wrong so that the Steelers win because I'm a Steelers guy. So I did Titans +3, Steelers won by 4. Last week, Packers +3, Steelers won by 4. Okay? Just want to preface it with that. So in this game, the Browns had an amazing comeback win. Their defense is elite and I think is better than Pittsburgh. their offense is definitely better than Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
So how could I not, with the Browns at home, go Cleveland minus 3.5? How could I not?
Yeah.
So I will. But I want everybody to pay attention, because if you actually want to make money off of something, don't do what I just said.
But hey, I don't know,
Browns
man.
minus 3.5.
I don't know. He's not wrong.
If you go
back and watch the past couple of videos, he has in fact faded the Steelers out of pure spite, and it's worked.
It's worked.
It's worked. So respect to him, being the fan that he needs to be and taking an L in the books so his team can take home a dub. But yeah, nonetheless, what the Steelers are doing is actually pretty preposterous when you think about it. Looking at the money, 62% of the bets are on Steelers. 79% of the handle right now, according to Action Network, is on the Steelers.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, I was kind of surprised. The public is on the Steelers right now, especially after the Browns' shocking win. In doing these notes before I checked all the numbers and I checked the betting splits, I try to make myself aware of what are going to be some trends coming into the week just based off of a recency bias. And one of my notes was Browns recency bias. A lot of people, a lot of the public, and maybe even Vegas will have this juiced up for the Browns just because of what they did against the Ravens last week. But that's not the case, man. I would have expected more of the public to be heavy on the Browns, against the Steelers team, but people really believe. Now, my projections do have Cleveland winning 20-14, so they think it's a 6-point spread rather than this 4-point spread. And I can take you guys through some stats, but it's all in favor of the Browns. It just doesn't matter at this point. Pittsburgh, there's nothing really that they do well, but they just find ways to win. Somehow, some way, Mike Tomlin finds a way to pull it out, and I think, there has to be some sort of regression to the mean here with the lack of production, both offensively and defensively. And so I think the Browns cover, I think they win by a touchdown. Looking at the two most important stats in my mind, Cleveland 24th in offensive EPA, Pittsburgh 29th. Ugh. Offensive EPA allowed, Cleveland first in the league, Pittsburgh 12th. So it's just not, maybe they proved me wrong. I don't know. But for me, this is a regression to the mean backwards for Pittsburgh. I think there's no way they can continue this streak of statistical luck. I think they have to fall back, and I think the Browns get them at home in the dog pound and really expose the Steelers team for who they are. So
you heard it here first. Harrison said it. Mike Tomlin pulls out. So I'm saying Browns minus 3, but go bet on the Steelers, everybody, because Mike Tomlin pulls out.
This is a fade beach play through and through. I've doomed myself. All right, hey, the next few games considered in the big game breakdowns may be controversial and not considered big games, but in my eyes, I consider them big games. And well, yeah, let's just get right into it. Vikings go to the Broncos. It is Monday. We have not seen the Broncos play the Bills yet. So if you were watching this, just note that we do not have that extra data point on the Broncos against the Bills. So we are taking this kind of blindly based off of their production beforehand. So Vikings go to the Broncos. Broncos play tonight in Buffalo. Broncos, as it stands, are 1.5-point favorites. Now, this is where we can maybe catch something before that nobody would really capture now. So Broncos, as it stands, are 1.5-point favorites now. If the Broncos lose tonight, this could be pushed down a little bit, maybe by a half a point or a full point. The point total sitting at 43.5. The Vikings, being led by Astro Dobbs, are one of the hottest teams in the NFC right now. 100%. You can't, they're on a win streak. Astro Dobbs has this team cooking. This offense is much, much better than what a lot of people expected after Kirk Cousins went down. So before I get into the numbers, before I get into everything, I'll give you the betting splits, and then BH, let's hear what you got. 85% of the bets are on the Vikings, 99% of the money right now, according to the data that Action Network collects on the Vikings. Again, this is really because nobody's seen the Broncos yet, so naturally the money would be coming in on the Vikings just from people sniping early lines. But with that information, BJ, I have a feeling I know what you're going to ride with Astro Dobbs here, but for the sake of the breakdown and for the analysis, let us know who you got and why.
Yeah, never, ever, 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 ever fade Joshua Dobbs again, Harrison. Shame on you. No, look, I mean, look,
I won't.
They put on the Saints in New Orleans. They didn't put it on them, but they ended up getting that win with their 3-point underdogs. They got to go to Mile High, right? Yep, they got to go there. And they're playing this Broncos team who's just like, they're whatever. And biggest news is Justin Jefferson might be back. And if you give Josh Dobbs, Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson, Dobbs can run the ball himself. They're winning the ship. They're going to the ball.
Dude, yeah.
They're going to the ball.
It's a fun one. So
it's so fun to watch them.
This one is interesting right now. As it stands, offensive EPA per play on the offensive side of the ball. Denver, 18th in the league, so less than average. Minnesota, 12th in the league, top third. Flip side, offensive EPA per play allowed. Denver, dead last in the league, and I have a feeling tonight's game won't really change anything. Regardless of the Broncos win or lose, the Bills will probably get some sort of production offensively. And then Minnesota, a surprising 9th-ranked defense right now. Now, you look at some of their raw numbers, like total yards per game and total points per game allowed, they're in the low 20s. So they're definitely lower end of the league, but efficiently speaking, they're up there. Offensive EPA per play allowed, they're in the top 10. So they have the means to do so. The only problem is this is at Mile High against Denver, so they don't get the luxury of being at home. So I think that's really why this number is the way it is. But I'm going to be honest with you guys, man. The projections are heavy on the Vikings. The Vikings are winning by 5 in this game, according to the projections, and a 26-21 point win. So also thinks the point total is going to go high as well. But I'm with you. I faded Josh Dobbs last week. I faded the Vikings last week. I'm not going to do it this week. And I'm also, earlier I faded the public, but this one I'm not going to fade the public. I'm going to ride the Vikings, and then I'm just going to grab it now, sprinkle now before the line drops before this game. And if the Broncos get embarrassed, not sure if they will. I think they actually put up a pretty good fight to start the game. We'll see. But, depending on what the line does after tonight, then I will potentially make some adjustments there. So it could be fun. I'm excited. I love watching the Vikings now. So, all right. Hey, next game, Seahawks go to the Rams. Rams get Matthew Stafford back. Rams are also coming off of a bye. Seahawks are coming off of an exciting win against the Commanders last week. A little disappointed they didn't cover, but nonetheless, they got the dub. Rams are 2.5-point home favorites. The over-under in this game is 44.5 for a little intra-divisional rivalry game. Now, I'm not sure what to feel about this game. Matthew Stafford coming back, it certainly gives the Rams a boost on the outlook no matter what. And I will say, looking at the projections right off the rip, it thinks this is a Seahawks -1 rather than Seahawks -2.5, just, strictly based off of the numbers. But I actually am kind of leaning towards the Ram here. I don't want to break anything up too early or give anything too early, but with Matthew Stafford coming back, with the way that this offense has looked when Matthew Stafford is healthy, I don't believe in the Seahawks team. It's hard for me to buy into them until they have that one convincing win. Looking at the betting splits, 33% of the tickets are on the Rams, 53% of the money. So there's a positive discrepancy, a positive differential towards the handle in favor of the Rams. So I think I'm going to buy the Rams +2.5 where I can get them. Brendan, who you got and why?
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I mean, I want to be higher on the Seahawks. They just at the beginning of the year they were fine. Now they're like struggling to kind of run the ball. And DK and Lockett both had good games. They're just kind of sputtering here. And the Rams coming off of the bye, they were able to get Puka more healthy. They were able to get Cup more healthy. And I don't know if they're going to, but they might get Kyron. Has he come off IR yet?
He can't play until week 12, unfortunately.
He can't play until because of the 4 weeks. Yeah.
Yep.
So they'll just ride with the scrubs they got there. But if Stafford is healthy enough to play, I think I take the Rams here as well to cover the underdog spread at home.
It's been nearly confirmed at this point by Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter that he will be a green light for this weekend, and I'm really hoping they win this one and start stacking up some wins just for the sake of my fantasy teams. But yeah, I mean, this Rams defense, not so good, but I think they can certainly fight off. Geno Smith has actually kind of struggled, surprisingly. I anticipated him having a really big year this year. He's let me down a little bit. So I think the Rams at home, even though they don't have a home field advantage, they just don't have to travel. So at home against this Seahawks team, especially well rested coming off of the bye, plenty of time for Sean McVay to cook up some magic on the offensive playbook. I'm taking the Rams. I like them to win outright. Next exciting game of the week. Chargers go to the Packers. Packers are +3 home underdogs. The point total is 44 points. Chargers coming off of a brutal loss to the Detroit Lions. One of the most exciting games of the week past week between the Chargers and the Lions. I mean, that was like an 80-point total, so points were being scored everywhere.
So awesome.
The Chargers did, in fact, charger again. They gave it up. So, but they have a chance to renew themselves. However, it is at Lambeau Field. That's a big negative for me in my eyes. Going to the Packers place and playing, no matter how good or bad the Packers may be, it's just a tough task to do. So I want to keep that in mind when, trying to diagnose what's going to happen in this game. Chargers being a -3 point favorite. 88% of the bets are on the Chargers. 74% of the handle is on the Chargers. So public is leaning heavy. There's not too much of a discrepancy in which I see here. But before I dive any more else to it, Brendan, let me know what you think about this line and why.
What's the line? Chargers -3.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I just the Packers just aren't good. And that's a big thing. I know that they're at home and it's in Lambeau. I mean, the Chargers got to get one. What are they? What's their record? 4-5? What are
they? Yeah, they are desperate for a win at this point.
Golly. They're there on the offensive side. And I don't think the Packers will be able to keep up. So I'm going to lay the Chargers -3 here. I just the Lions defense isn't bad at all. I mean, it's pretty decent anyway. So they were able to put that. I know it was a shootout game and both teams were scoring, yada yada, game script type deal. But I mean, they're healthy. I mean, they won't get Mike back, but oh my gosh, why can't I think of his name? Quentin Johnson had his first touchdown of the year this last game. I mean, he still gets pushed around out there. I mean, I think they'll be able to do that against the Packers. I think Chargers -3. I just don't believe in the Packers.
Systematically, I want to take the Packers so bad. Just the way that, being at home, the matchup with the Chargers defense being so bad, a lot of the personnel wise, the Chargers should have a top 15, top 10 defense. I will go as far to say that when you have Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa and Derwin James, you should not be as bad as this Chargers team is, just straight up. And you look at some of their numbers on the defensive side of the ball, looking at EPA, offensive EPA per play allowed, the Chargers are 28th in the league. Not dead last, but bottom 4. So it's just abysmal that they're allowing this to happen. Yards per completion, yards per attempt in the passing game, 31st, 32nd. You can shred on this team. You can also run on this team. But teams choose to throw just because they can. Rushing yards allowed, 12th in the league for the Chargers, but you flip it over, passing yards allowed, dead last in the league for the Chargers. I want to play the Packers so bad. Personally, I have it on my big game breakdown. I hate to not play anything, but the projections have the Chargers winning by 4. So with that information, I'll give you what it is. So about 1 point off of the Vegas point spread as is. I want to take the Packers. I want to. And you know what? If you are liking the Packers this week, I don't blame you. I feel not confident whatsoever picking the Chargers to win this game. I think the Packers have every chance to go in this game and win outright. So this should be a fun one. I am going to pick the Chargers to win in this game, but I'm not confident in it. And I think the Packers can certainly get right against this team. This should be a fun one. I'm not sure why the point total is as low as it is. I think it's going to be higher. I think it's going to be about 47, 48. So about 4 points. So if you're a point total kind of person, this one may be an over for you. So nonetheless, that's where I'm laying. I want to play the Packers, but I can't do it. I'm going to pick the Chargers to win in this one. So that wraps it up for the big game breakdown. Brendan, I'm going to ask you which lines you like out of the rest of this slate. Give your answer as quick as possible. And let's hear it. Giants go to the Commanders. Commanders are 10-point home favorites against the Giants.
Whoa.
You think the Commanders
10?
10 whole points.
No way. Hell yeah, they can. Sam Howell's the guy.
Dude, the Giants just need to tank at this point. I mean, I personally am not going to touch it, but let's see what the projections have to say, actually.
No projections. We're rapid here.
Actually, doesn't help. Projections have Commanders 27, Giants 17. So push, I guess. All right, next game. Bucks go to the 49ers. 49ers are 10.5-point home favorites against the Tampa Bay Bucks.
'49ers cover.
I think the Bucks cover.
Brock Purdy, 350 passing yards.
Interesting. I think the Bucks cover, but 49ers win by a touchdown.
7.
Okay. The Titans go to the Jags. Jags are 6.5-point home favorites against Will Levis and the Tights. Who do you like?
The Tits? I'm gonna go with 6.5.
6.5.
I'm gonna go with the Jags. I think they bounce back.
I think I kind of like that. The projections have Titans losing by 5.5, but I think it's close enough where, Jags, they get back on track. Cardinals, Kyler Murray back healthy, beat the Falcons. Sad face for me. Cardinals go to the Texans. Texans are hot. Texans 4-point home favorites. I personally like the Texans -4 in this game, but let me know what you think.
I like the Texans -4 with the Cardinals defense being some poo-poo.
Yep. Projections have this as a
shootout DFS game of the week.
It'd be fun. It'll be fun. Bears go to the Lions. Lions are 10-point home favorites in Detroit in the Dome. Justin Fields could be coming back. What do you think?
I think Justin Fields comes back a little rusty. Lions cover. Go Lions. To the bowl.
Interessante. I'll take Bears. Projections have Bears losing by 7, not 10. Jets go to the Bills. Again, we haven't seen Bills play. They play tonight on Monday Night Football. Bills are currently a touchdown favorite against the Jets.
Jets cover. I hated saying that.
Oh God.
Yeah,
you could.
Jets beat them. Jets beat them earlier in the year.
True. Well, I mean, the projections like the Bills to win by 9. So,
but the Jets secondary is sick.
I guess, yeah. Maybe this is a revenge game. It is at Buffalo, so let's see.
Jets.
I think they can do it. Okay. Maybe we can make it a little bigger bet. This guy. Okay, last one I got for you. Raiders go to the Dolphins. Dolphins are 11.5-point home favorites coming off of the bye.
Oh, yeah.
Do we think Antonio Pierce can get these boys hot and ready to go for Miami?
No, I think the Raiders score 20, but I think the Dolphins score 42.
Yeah, that's going to be tough for them. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, I think Waddle was a little bit banged up earlier in the year. He's had a whole week to rest. Reed coming back. Is A-Chan coming back yet?
Yep.
Oh.
Well, I take that back. His practice window was open. So he has a 21-day practice window for them to activate him off the IR. So it's been opened. Now they just have to activate him, which I fully expect them to. So,
yeah, I think they cook.
I'm anticipating him being on field.
I think they're going to cook.
Projections actually like the Raiders to cover. So
that's lame.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe it though, but projections, they're hitting it right around the 59% hit rate. So take that as a miss
40. They got to miss 40%. Yeah.
Hey, to hit 60% of the time, you got to miss 40% of the time.
Got to miss 40.
That's math. All right, guys, that wraps it up for the show this week. We appreciate you being here. We will be back here next week for NFL Week 12 Big Game Breakdown. Find our projections at Stathletics_. Have a great week.